Have you ever sat in a meeting and thought, I must be the stupidest person in this room? Or maybe you've avoided speaking up because you were terrified of sounding silly or foolish. If that resonates with you, I see this all the time in my practice. For so many people, especially adults with ADHD, dyslexia, or dyscalculia, those feelings trace right back to school. Kia ora, I'm Nikki Palamountain from Dyslexia Unpuzzled, and welcome to this week's Weekly Wisdom audio newsletter. Years of being told to try harder, feeling lazy when you are actually working twice as hard, or sitting quietly while others just seem to get it faster. Well, I call this academic trauma. And here's the thing that nobody talks about. It doesn't actually vanish when you leave school. Those messages follow you into the workplaces, into relationships, even into how you talk to your own children about learning. However, here's the truth that I need you to hear. The problem was never your brain. It was a mismatch between how you learn and how you were being taught. I see this transformation happening in my practice all the time. I want to tell you about Margaret. She's 60 and she carried decades of shame until she discovered she actually wasn't slow. She was a very deep processor. Or Joan, who at 64 once reduced to tears over feeling dumb, and she's now absolutely thriving and confident at work. And Dave, 57, who transformed in just 1 week from being quiet and hesitant to strong and proud and ready to take on the world. However, sometimes the consequences run much deeper. I also want to share the story of Callan, also 57, who has battled drug addiction and depression for decades, all stemming from unrecognised learning differences at school. Even now, during our interview that we did, his voice shakes with emotion when he talks about those early experiences. In his own words, he shared, "It was more acceptable to take drugs than it was to have learning challenges when I was at school." You can hear our full interview on my YouTube channel where Callan shares his story with remarkable courage and honesty. Healing is absolutely possible, and it begins with 4 key steps. First of all, grieving what was lost. And yes, that's important, that grief work. Secondly, rewriting your story from "I was a terrible student" to "I was a creative learner in a rigid system." Third, recognizing your actual strengths, the incredible skills you develop because of how your brain works. And fourth, finding strategies that actually fit your brain instead of forcing yourself to work like everyone else. You don't need to become someone else. You need to understand how your brain works and build a life that works with it, not against it. I know it's one thing to hear about these ideas, and it's completely another thing to actually put them into practice. So that's exactly why I recorded a video this week where I talk about some of the everyday tools I share with my clients. They're not complicated systems, they're just small, practical steps that work with your brain, not against it. In my latest YouTube video, I talk about how learning challenges like ADHD and dyslexia don't just disappear after school. They grow and change with us. I share some really practical strength-based strategies that support both teens and adults who learn differently. Strategies like time blocking with sensory breaks, flexible planning systems like Trello, and even simple but effective paper-based tools. These are approaches that actually help improve focus, confidence, and most of all, independence. I really want to talk about the things that matter most to you, the support that you need day to day, and I hope you're already finding some ideas here right on this channel that you can use and put into practice straight away. What I'd love to know is there something more specific you would like me to cover? How can I best support you right now? I would genuinely love to hear from you. Maybe it's a challenge you're facing at the moment or a strategy you would like me to explain in more detail. Please just hit reply to this newsletter and share your thoughts with me. Your questions and experience really help guide what I share here, so believe me, your voice truly matters. And if you need more help, here are some ways we can connect. When it seems like nothing works, it might not be about adding another tool to the pile. What really helps is having a solid foundation in place, the kind that makes every other approach easier and more effective. If that sounds like you, I'd love to chat about scheduling an in-person initial meeting. Does reading time feel like a real struggle in your house? Or maybe you avoid it, maybe it just doesn't happen. This happens often to so many families. However, with a few simple strategies, homework, or even just regular story time can actually shift from being a stressful time to something you and your child can both enjoy together. I've got some stress-free reading ideas that can help you with that. And if you want some strategies that actually work, on my YouTube channel, I share practical tools you can use right away. Ideas shaped by working alongside families just like yours. And speaking of YouTube, if you enjoy reading these newsletters, you might love having the same ideas to listen to while you're on the go, while you're cooking, driving, or waiting in the car. Just search for Weekly Wisdom, informative strategies and real results on my YouTube channel, and you can just tune in anytime. I really hope today's ideas give you something practical to try and a bit of encouragement along the way. As always, I welcome feedback from you and would love to connect, so feel free to hit reply to this newsletter and share whatever's on your mind. Ngā mihi nui. This is Nikki from Dyslexia Unpuzzled, and I'll catch you next week.